The Amish spend $50 a week feeding families of 10, while you're spending that on Tuesday's groceries alone. Their secret isn't coupons or bulk stores. It's something most modern kitchens threw away decades ago. Forget everything you know about chicken pot pie. That golden-crusted thing from the freezer aisle? The Amish would laugh at it. Their version has no crust, no pie tin, not even close. It's a thick, belly-warming stew loaded with square-cut noodles, tender chicken, and chunks of potato, all swimming in rich broth made from scratch. Here's what gets me. One chicken feeds 12 people. 12! Most of us can barely stretch a rotisserie chicken across 2 meals without someone complaining they're still hungry. The secret is those homemade noodles: flour, eggs, water. That's it. Amish women roll the dough so thin you could read a Bible through it, then slice it into rough 2-inch squares. Nothing fancy, nothing store-bought. And the best part? Everything cooks in one pot on a single burner. When you're burning firewood or paying for propane, that matters. A lot. But here's what really separates the Amish from the rest of us. When dinner's done, they save every last drop of leftover broth in ceramic crocks. Tomorrow's soup already has a head start. Now, chicken pot pie sounds like it takes effort. But the next meal? You can make it in 15 minutes flat. Ribble soup. Never heard of it? Neither had I until I watched an Amish grandmother make it in under 15 minutes. Here's how it works. You take flour, crack in an egg, add a pinch of salt. Then you rub the mixture between your fingers directly over a pot of boiling milk. Little dough pebbles drop straight in. That's it. That's the whole recipe. No measuring cups, no timers, no fancy equipment. This soup exists because sometimes the pantry is nearly empty. You've got flour, you've got eggs, you've got milk from this morning. Dinner is served. The cost? About 50 cents to feed 8 people. 50 cents. Most of us spend more than that on a single packet of ramen. And here's what gets me. Amish kids learn to make rivels by age 6. 6 years old, standing on a stool, rubbing dough into soup like tiny kitchen apprentices. Meanwhile, my nephew can't make toast without setting off the smoke detector. Some families throw in corn from their summer canning. Suddenly, that plain bowl becomes something sweet and hearty. But Rivell soup is still just flour and milk. The next meal? It uses parts of a pig that would make most people run. Scrapple. The name alone sounds like something you'd scrape off your boot. But in Amish kitchens, scrapple is breakfast royalty, and it's made from parts of the pig that would send most grocery shoppers running for the exit. We're talking the head, the liver, the heart. Every scrap that can't be sold at market goes into one pot. Everything gets boiled until it falls apart, then ground fine, then mixed with cornmeal and buckwheat flour until it forms a thick paste. Pour that into loaf pans, let it set, and you've got breakfast for the next 3 months. Slice it thin, fry it in lard until the edges crackle. Suddenly, those pig scraps taste like the crispiest, most satisfying thing you've ever eaten. German settlers brought this recipe in the 1700s. They watched their neighbors throw away perfectly good meat and probably thought they'd lost their minds. One autumn pig produces enough scrapple loaves to see a family through winter. No refrigerator needed, just a cold cellar and some patience. The Amish turned garbage into gold. Well, breakfast gold anyway. Speaking of stretching meat, wait until you see what they do with a single ham hock. One smoked ham hock costs about 90 cents, sometimes less. English neighbors practically give them away because they don't know what to do with a pig's ankle joint. The Amish know exactly what to do with it. Throw that hock into a pot with dried navy beans. Let it simmer for 6 to 8 hours on the wood stove. Walk away. Do your chores. Forget about it entirely. Here's what happens while you're milking cows and mending fences. That tough, gnarly joint releases enough smoky flavor to transform plain beans into something restaurant-worthy. The meat falls right off the bone. Shred it back into the pot, and suddenly you've got protein without buying a single pork chop. Those navy beans, grown in the garden, dried on screens in late summer, stored in burlap sacks by the 100-pound, cost per serving works out to maybe 15 cents. One batch feeds the whole family for 2 days straight. And here's the kicker. It actually tastes better the second day. The flavors marry overnight like an old couple who finally stopped arguing. No wonder this soup shows up on Amish tables every single week from October through March. But what happens when even beans seem too fancy? Cornmeal enters the chat. Cornmeal mush sounds like something you'd feed prisoners, or maybe farm animals. But here's the truth. This stuff kept entire generations alive when nothing else would. The recipe is almost embarrassingly simple. Ground corn, boiling water, salt, stir it until your arm wants to fall off. That's it. That's the whole thing. Amish families grow field corn specifically for this purpose. They dry it on cobs, then haul it to community mills powered by horses or water. No electricity bill, no middleman, just corn becoming food. One serving costs roughly 10 cents. 10 cents! You can't even park your car for 10 cents anymore. Served hot with fresh milk and maple syrup, it tastes like breakfast should taste. Simple, warm, filling enough to fuel you through morning chores. But the genius part comes next morning. That leftover mush? Pour it into loaf pans overnight. It solidifies like a brick. Slice it thick, fry it in butter until golden and crispy on both sides. Same ingredient, completely different meal. Zero waste. During the Great Depression, non-Amish families started copying this trick from their plain neighbors. Desperation has a funny way of making people humble. Speaking of humble ingredients, what happens when you've literally got nothing but milk? Milk pie, that's it. That's the whole ingredient list in the name. Amish women created this dessert when the cupboard held nothing fancy. No eggs for custard, no fruit from the orchard, no chocolate, because honestly, have you seen chocolate prices lately? Just milk, sugar, flour, and a splash of vanilla. Pour it into a pie crust made from lard you rendered yourself back in November. Bake until it sets. The result tastes like a hug from your grandmother. Assuming your grandmother was practical, frugal, and didn't believe in wasting money on nonsense. Here's what gets me. One whole pie serves 8 people dessert. The total cost? Less than what most folks spend on a single fancy coffee. Way less. Amish cookbooks contain over 20 variations of these desperation pies. Water pie, vinegar pie, sugar cream pie. Each one designed around whatever ingredient happened to be available that week. Children didn't complain either. When you've never tasted store-bought cake loaded with artificial everything, a simple milk pie seems like a genuine treat. But what happens when you've got chickens laying more eggs than you can possibly sell? Egg noodles with browned butter. Sounds fancy, right? Wrong. This is what Amish families eat when the chickens won't stop laying. Seriously, a good laying hen produces around 300 eggs per year. Multiply that by 20 hens. That's 6,000 eggs annually. You can only sell so many at the roadside stand, so the extras become noodles. Flour, eggs, salt. That's the whole recipe. Roll it thin, cut it into strips, hang them on clean sheets to dry. They'll keep for a year without refrigeration. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Brown some butter in a cast-iron skillet until it smells like hazelnuts. Toss those noodles in while they're still hot. Maybe sprinkle some toasted breadcrumbs on top. The result tastes like something you'd pay $18 for at a restaurant with exposed brick walls and mood